Hello there, and welcome to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast, where we'll have a little fun, lots of laughs, and discussions on the common sense that needs to be applied to a lot of today's world news issues. And now, the disclaimer. Stay Off My Lawn is not intended as legal, medical, or financial advice. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary to win. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or over in the contiguous 48 states. Any resemblance to anyone living or deceased is purely coincidental. Actual price may vary. Only use as directed. Not a member of FDIC. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Richard.
Steve, did you hit the record button? Stevie. Anyway, welcome to this week's edition of Stay Off My Lawn.
Yes, he's telling me, oh, no, he hit the, cranky today. I think he was out partying too much.
I think he hit the record button about a half hour ago, so we're going to have to edit some of this. I think he hit it with his forehead when he passed out from drinking too much this morning.
I'll let you get through the, tell us what day it is, please.
Welcome to this week's edition of Stay Off My Lawn. It's June 11th, 2024, and this is episode 70, Setenta. So yes, we are multicultural today because we do have Colombians and Ecuadorians listening to us on a weekly basis. So anyway, how was your weekend? You had some kind of
I was busy. It was family reunion time this weekend, and for those who not aware of, this is how my family has been paying for family reunions I've been doing the auctioning for 30 years, and my uncle did it for some time, so it's probably going on 40 years of us doing this. And instead of having to go, don't forget, you got to send in your $12.95 for each member of the family that's coming so we can get food and, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
that.
blah, blah, blah.
We don't have to do that. The auction is what pays for the big Saturday deal where you go and have a barbecue. There's fried chicken and there's all kinds of other goodies and things you can eat that everybody can just chow down. You don't have to bring money. If you don't have much, you can come. And then the auction is, all right, now give me a little bit. We got 5 now to the bid, now 10. 10 now to the bid, now 15. 15 now to the bid, now quarter. We got quarter now to go half. Anyway, that was my job. That's what I do.
And old Aunt Millie is who you auctioned off. So, I mean, but she was,
that's right.
She's sick anyway, so.
That's my take. I'm standing out there. I don't have a microphone, speakers, or any of that stuff. And there's like 110, 115 people there. And in the span of an hour and 20 minutes with people bringing things that they made or got or something that has to do with the Idaho home, all that kind of stuff, raised $1,600 in an hour and 20 minutes.
Nice.
And that's about what it takes to do a reunion, to rent the park, rent the venue if you're going to. So we don't have to ask people for money. It's all done, and it's an hour and 20 minutes. Everybody looks forward to the auction. Yes, let's bring out the dancing monkey again. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I go out there and I give them a bad time. There's somebody really wants something. They just keep waving their paddle, by the way, is the back of a paper plate with a number on it. That's their paddle. I mean, that's what we've always done, is you just get the cheap paper plates, write a number on the back of it, and what number do you want? And here you go.
That's basically what those paddles look like whenever I've seen an auction anyway. They kind of look like a piece of cardboard stuck on a tongue depressor.
A stick.
So, yeah.
This way you got a big paper plate. You can just hold the thing up. We can read it, and sold to what number?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was busy. I've got a little bit of a fried forehead charred just a tad today.
And the part in your hair hurts a little bit.
And the part in my hair, that was I forgot about that. I do part it in the middle because I have a big cowlick in the front of my head, and that just is the easy way to part it. Well, it just goes, okie dokie, does it naturally. So I gave up and
I used to have a cowlick back here, but it kind of took care of itself. I'm not sure how, it's just not there anymore.
Yeah. Sunday morning, got up after the shower, and I'm combing my hair, and then I do the part down the middle and went, ow, 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 son of a, run that comb down that. Ooh, ow. It was burnt. I didn't put a hat on. Shame on me.
Yeah,
Anyway, that was my weekend. Woohoo. That's all I did.
We had to take Barbara's friend down to Florida, down to Clearwater, just south of Clearwater, Largo, Florida. And that's about an 8-hour drive there and back. And so we did that Saturday, came back Sunday. And of course, we have family down there. So we met them for breakfast before we came back. So that was just a long drive, though. Goodness gracious. And Atlanta traffic never gets better, even on the weekends. It doesn't seem to matter. People just low IQ people get a phone call in the morning and says, go out in the road, and just decide to stop in the middle of the lane. And, you know, I think they're all Democrats. Gotta be.
It's a conspiracy theory to keep you from going down.
I think so. But it works. I mean, it gets everybody frustrated, and it takes us longer to get home than we should. But anyway, that's all we did this weekend. We
I forgot. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I apologize. I have one of my favorite cousins from the beautiful state of Washington, used to live on the west side of the Cascades and recently moved to kind of central Washington, that if you shanghaied somebody and blindfolded them from southern Idaho and dropped them off in central Washington, they wouldn't have think they went very far.
Yeah.
It looks the same. But anyhow, we were talking and she was going to do a podcast. I went, oh, good. I said, I have a couple of podcasts that I'm part of and stuff. And she goes, really? And she goes, I said, it's, stay off my lawn. It's kind of a conservative podcast. I don't want people to go to it and go, why did he? And she goes, oh, that's good because we're conservative too. It's like, you're in Idaho. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
It's okay, really.
Yeah. You're accepted.
But I just found it amusing that it's like, it's okay. We're here.
It's funny that in conservative areas like you and I live, if somebody says they're Democrat, they don't feel like they have to whisper. I don't know anybody that.
I know. I'm with you. It's like, she is just an absolute sweetheart, and her husband's a chef, and they're just wonderful people. So I think they probably had enough of Western Washington, just like the Idaho and Oregon secession thing with Greater Idaho, and now it might be there's 14 counties in Western Oregon, all saying we're leaving. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that vote goes. When is that vote supposed to take place? Is it?
I don't know. It'd have to be in their legislature. The Dems hate Eastern Oregon anyway. It's like a poor redheaded stepchild, as the old saying used to be. Well, I know it's not politically correct, folks. Just get over it.
Get over it, yes.
It's an old saying. It's been around forever. Yes. I don't care. But that's how they treat Eastern Oregon. And Eastern Washington's not much different.
Well, maybe they'll just consider it like, good riddance and because, they have to agree to it also. So, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of tax revenue, I wouldn't think, from the eastern part of those states because it is so sparsely populated. So, I mean, why not? They probably don't care. And Idaho, I think it would be a great match because, Yeah,
it's just farmland. They don't need to eat over there anyway.
No. They just go to the grocery store. They don't need farms.
Oh, one of my favorite things. Anyway,
whenever possible, we like to start off the show with wisdom from our commander-in-chief.
It's always possible.
It's been possible at least twice a week for the last year and a half we've been doing the podcast. This one we have to file under the category of tell me you don't understand the question without saying you don't understand the question. He is sharp as a freaking tack. Here we go.
It's Uncle Joe's Wisdom of the Week.
On the border, why is the border more overwhelmed under your watch, Mr. President?
Because there are 3 countries that there are fewer immigrants coming from Central America and from Mexico. This is a totally different circumstance. What's on my watch now is Venezuela, Cuba, and Nicaragua. And the ability to send them back to those states is not rational. You could send them back and have them. We're working with Mexico and other countries to see if we can stop the flow. But that's the difference. Thank you.
I think there's about 4 or 5 conversations going on there. I'm not sure which one we were supposed to be listening to.
What the hell? What was he answering? I don't know.
Why is the border more overwhelmed? Well, we got 3 countries that it's not rational. Well, what's not rational is that answer. But I mean,
Yeah, and there's too many that are, I don't understand how these people can walk, quote unquote, 1,000 miles and look fresh as a daisy when they come across the border. And then you look at all the trash on both sides. It's disgusting down there.
Absolutely.
And they get to the border and they throw away their ID. I don't have any ID.
Yeah,
it's all dumped on the other side.
Even if they had an ID, a lot of those countries, you can't vet them anyway because it's like they don't have birth certificates like we have here. You just can't think of other countries. They're not run like we are. We are organized. Right. Everybody gets social security numbers. We have all these things. They don't do that in Ecuador, or Nicaragua or whatever. It just doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
whatever.
it's I'm with you. It's like, what was the question? He's answering what?
As far
I
as
didn't even understand the answer if there wasn't the question.
yeah, I was gonna
Alex,
say.
what is for 100?
Please, Alex, give me that answer. But you made a great point. You think about these people walking 1,500 miles, some of them supposedly, and they look like they just got out of the shower and blow dried their hair and the whole thing. They look fine. And remember in 2021, a lot of them were crossing the border wearing Biden-Harris shirts. So, I mean, there was a lot of stuff sent down there, and this is because he told them that the border is going to be open the day I take office, and come on. And if you don't believe me, look it up. I mean, you think about the I think it was the last debate between him and Trump. He said that explicitly, and they paid attention, and that's what happened.
Well, as they're walking the distance, supposedly, with the porta potties along the way, there's posters in the porta potty. Don't forget, when you get to America, to vote for Biden.
Vote Biden. Vote often, vote early. Yeah.
Isn't that a Chicago?
It may be.
Anyway.
It may be. It sounds like a Lori Lightfoot thing, but I mean, she's not in office anymore either. Anyway, last week was the 80th anniversary of D-Day. I should have said that. I was waiting until this week to actually have something because I knew we'd have a plethora of clips. That is the word of the day, plethora of clips.
Well, someone's been reading their thesaurus.
It was on the back. It was on the back of the Lysol can. Don't ask me where I was reading it.
Kills a plethora of germs.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Sure. Something like that. Anyway, it was celebrated, of course, in Normandy, France. Now, a stat about D-Day: more U.S. military members died during the battles surrounding Normandy, those couple of weeks, than all the conflicts combined in the 21st century, which is an incredible stat. I mean, you think about all the stuff that's happened over in Afghanistan and Iraq and all, and we hear about that so much more often. But you think about 1944, all this happened in such a short time period. There was. And somebody will cover that. I think Reagan covers that in one of our clips. That the amount of people the amount of men that stormed Normandy Beach, and the amount that was left over after about 2 weeks. It was just incredible numbers. And these are all 18, 19-year-old kids. Some of them even younger than that. So
barely out of high school, and you always see these World War II movies, and they're guys in their 40s. That was rare. An old person in World War II that was in charge of a squadron or whatever might have been 24, 25. That was the old guy.
Exactly. Think about that. I mean, if they're going to retire after 20 years, you join at 18, you're 38 when you're reaching the pinnacle of your career. If you decide to retire at 20 years, even at 30 years, you're 48, and 48 is youngsters to some of us. You know what I mean? I mean, 48 years old, you're going to
damn kids today, I swear.
I can't believe the decisions these stupid youngins make. But today, the Democrats, instead of honoring a time in our history where brave men, like I said, some of them are 18, 19, 17-year-old kids, risked their life and limb for freedom. And really, that was the reason why a lot of them signed up. My dad was one of those that signed up. There was a draft, of course. But anyway, they made the whole thing, a lot of them, a re-election campaign speeches and stuff like that. Hillary Clinton posted on her official X account, said that, and I quote, 80 years ago today, thousands of brave men and women, brave Americans, she said, fought to protect democracy on the shores of Normandy. This November, all we have to do is vote. So are you comparing Normandy to what's going on in America today? It just doesn't get any better.
Well, they're doing everything they can communistically, socialistly, if you want to say that, to screw stuff up, and then blaming the Republicans for what it is they're actually doing. It just keeps getting more, and people are seeing it going, no, you're the ones that are doing that.
Yeah, and this whole threat to democracy, and even if you want to say threat to our republic, I mean, there is the only thing that's a threat to our republic is the globalist agenda. I mean, that's what's the Green Deal and all that kind of stuff. That's what's a big threat, and sending money and printing money and sending it to people who who don't deserve it. First of all, like the people who sitting on their butt in their parents' basement, or conflicts all around the world. And I still, it comes down to Ukraine for me. I understand we're actual allies to Israel. We should be helping them. But when it comes to Ukraine, come on now, it still blows my mind how people just go along with that.
Yep.
So
Communist fighting communist. Who do you want to win? The communist.
yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right, though. We are up against a break. So when we come back, we've got clips from President Eisenhower, President Reagan, of course, our current Poopy Pants. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Anyway, so we've got a bunch of stuff, and a World War II hero who sounds much more on the ball than certain people in Washington, D.C. right now. So hang in there. We will be right back.
Stay tuned. More of the Stay Off My Lawn podcast is coming up.
Born from the tragedy of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation carries out its mission to do good by providing mortgage-free homes to Gold Star and fallen first responder families with young children, and by building specially adapted smart homes for catastrophically injured veterans and first responders. They are also committed to eradicating veteran homelessness and helping America to never forget September 11th, 2001. And according to Charity Navigator, 95 cents out of every dollar donated goes directly to these programs. $11 a month is all they ask for to help these real-life American heroes. Visit t2t.org to find out more. That's T2T.org. Now, I'd probably want to go there. Welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 2. And, by the way, if you ever want to get a hold of us, I don't know why you would want to do that. This seems ridiculous. But if you want to email us, it's soml@duck.com. Or you can call us and leave us a voicemail, and that would be even fantastic. You might even hear yourself on the air, which would be kind of chilled down their spine thing. It's 770.
You're gonna be a star. I tell you, a star.
I want to thank my mother. I want to thank my brothers who helped me along the way. It's 770-727-6443. That's 770-727-6443. Or you could just go to the website, stayoffmylawn.us. There's all these little clickable links on there where you can find us.
There you go.
So anyway.
Operators are standing by.
I'm not sure if they're standing or not. Seemed like I saw chairs in there, but here's
the main operator is yes, Steve, we know you're the main guy for that. That's what you do in your part-time. Yes, it's okay. Gee, many Christmas.
Man, he only wakes
He said
up
he
to
didn't
take
want
another-
that many calls.
So that means call him, make him mad. I mean, he's mad anyway.
Give him something to do. Jeez.
You should start a podcast, Steve. Anyway.
Yeah, it would be. He would be so misunderstood.
That would be good, though. I like it. I'd listen.
Shoot. All right, let's get on with our clips.
Going back to
these
D-Day.
are awesome. I just love these.
Going back to D-Day, General Eisenhower, he had his message to the Allied troops as they prepared for the D-Day invasion. And it was, it's different than what you would hear today. And see if you can tell the differences.
Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940-41. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
You know, you don't hear generals or presidents or anybody talking like that nowadays. I mean, I was inspired. I'd go. I mean, he's strong men like that don't exist seemingly. I don't know.
No, if and then the news media gets a hold of them and just puts them down because they are strong and
Mhm. Toxic masculinity.
they're not sensitive. And they're just, it just hurts me.
He hurt my
It's like
feelings.
it's like being too sensitive.
You played that so well. Then on the 40th anniversary, the then President Reagan spoke at the Normandy 40th anniversary celebration type thing, and this is how he sounded.
They climbed, shot back, and held their footing. Soon, one by one, the Rangers pulled themselves over the top, and in seizing the firm land at the top of these cliffs, they began to seize back the continent of Europe. 225 came here. After 2 days of fighting, only 90 could still bear arms. These are the men who took the cliffs. These are the champions who helped free a continent. And these are the heroes who helped end a war.
You know, I didn't see the video of this, but I bet, a lot of those guys there had to be hundreds of them there because they'd only be in their late 50s. The World War
40
II
years
veterans.
ago.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Reagan just knew how to talk and knew how to
Yep.
inspire and do
Yep.
all that. You got to think too. And I heard this the other day. I can't take credit for it, but a lot of these guys, it was the first time they've ever been on an airplane, and they had to jump out of it. And it's like, and they're teenagers, and they have no idea what they're getting into. But I'm sure that they understood that this is war, and after the way World War I went, and all the stories they've heard about that from their uncles and fathers and grandfathers, then they were going, this could be certain death. I mean, we're going into some place that we have no idea. But you know what? They kind of girded their loins and went anyway. And those are men that are beyond the pale of men today.
Yeah, if anybody wants to say that's not the greatest generation, you're full of it right up to your eyeballs.
Absolutely. We do have a recording of World War II hero Ronald Sharf. He was asked a question on Fox News, and here's his response.
What do you think about the state of our country today? How do you feel about the country that you worked so hard to stay free, to keep free?
The real truth?
Yeah.
I feel like a foreigner in my own country lots of times, and I don't like it. It makes my heart real heavy. And I just hope we can pull out of this. There's too much Hollywood going on in Washington all the time. The important subjects they don't cover. So the thing is, I hope all the guys will rally up and we'll go back and straighten it all out.
It just impresses me just how well spoken he is. I think you and I were talking about that off the air.
He's pushing 100 or right at or a
Yeah.
little over 100,
Could
and
be.
he could hear the question and answered what the question actually was.
No, and we just heard somebody that couldn't do that. I can't remember. Yeah. I don't know. Like you said, the greatest generation, and they still are. They still are to me. There hasn't been one like it. So
The things that they did, and people, from seeing old war movies of soldiers and stuff, and they're all, Clark Gable was doing World War II movies in his 50s or whatever, and it's like, no, these were kids. The old man in a crew on a B-17, the lieutenant in charge of the whole plane, and the leader of the group might have been 24.
yeah.
Maybe.
at the out. I mean, if he was a lieutenant, that would be old for a lieutenant. Yeah.
Yeah.
But think about World War II. They had field promotions, so it's like it could have been a private that was 18 years old that did something pretty heroic, and the colonel or the whatever came. It's like, I'm going to give you a commission, and so all of a sudden they're a second lieutenant, and so they could have been 18 years old as a second lieutenant. So I mean, there was just a lot of stuff that we don't really grasp because we're so far removed from all that. You're absolutely right.
And a lot of people don't realize that. I can't imagine. I don't see hardly anybody out of Hollywood being leaders in anything in World War II. And there was, if anybody's seen any old Westerns, like from the 50s, Audie Murphy is in a ton of them. He was decorated with more ribbons and stuff than anybody in war. Some of the stuff he did was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
He just did it and came out the other side. You had James Arness was a World War II. If you see the latter shows of Gunsmoke, he's got a pretty noticeable oddball gait that gets worse as the show goes on. He was hit by machine gun fire in one leg, and if they didn't film his stuff first, he couldn't hardly deal with it toward the end of Gunsmoke. So these are all people you had. There's just a ton of them. Johnny Stewart, he was a pilot in World War II. These people all went over and served and did their part.
Yeah.
So I just don't. Do you imagine or see any of Hollywood doing that today?
Heck no. And you think about Joe McCarthy. I was just thinking about this as far as Hollywood goes. It's like there was a turn after World War II where these people just started going over on the other side. And I think that's where Joe McCarthy kind of went in and said, all these communists out there in Hollywood, and and we're still seeing the same thing today. I think Joe McCarthy top of his head would blow off today.
He thought it was bad back then. Oh, Lord.
But it wasn't like that back then. You're right. I mean, we had Hollywood people that actually loved the country, and I think that's where the communist comes down to, or democratic socialists, if you want to put it in that category. But man, they don't love this country. They don't love the people of this country. They love their agenda. They love the climate change agenda. They love all this the transgender stuff. I mean, all these things they have almost like God, I can't even think of the word. They have a manifesto that they have to go by. And if you're going to be on our team, you got to believe in all these things. And most of the country, even Democrats, most of the country don't believe in any of that stuff. So, I mean, I think it's the extreme left part of the party has kind of taken over the party. And of course, they would say the same thing about us, the extreme right, which they call MAGA. I don't see anything wrong with somebody saying, "Make America Great Again." I see nothing wrong with that, but whatever.
I don't see anything extreme about it. It's just we have pride in our country, and now you're an extremist.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of extremists, what do we have with, I believe Uncle Joe is up again.
Yes.
How about that?
Here's Uncle Joe comparing the Nazis' attempt to take over Europe to what we are seeing today, which is a bad comparison.
Now the question for us is, in our hour of trial, will we do ours? We're living in a time when democracy is more at risk across the world than any point since the end of World War II, since these beaches were stormed in 1944. Now we have to ask ourselves, will we stand against tyranny, against evil, against crushing brutality of the iron fist? Will we stand for freedom? Will we defend democracy? Will we stand together? My answer is yes, and only can be yes.
If we defend democracy or tyranny, I'm not sure what's going on there. But comparing the end of World War II.
He was excited about it though, so there's that.
He got a shot of something for that.
Yeah.
But comparing it to today, come on now, gosh, Did you see during the ceremony he tried to sit down in an imaginary chair?
He thought they're saying he either was trying to sit down or and it just depends.
It depends what he was doing. Yes, it does. Dr. Jill was trying to tell him to stop, but I think he was telling her, I can't. It's coming out.
Yeah. It was not. Yeah.
It was similar to the Vatican. We'll put it that way. There's been so many reports of that's what happened. Then it's another day in the life. But after the ceremony, I have to hand it to Macron, which, I'm not a fan of his at all, but he did go and speak to a lot of the American World War II vets. The youngest, like we talked about earlier, had to be 98 years old. It's probably the youngest guys out there. And looks like a lot of them held up better over the years than our own people in charge here.
Yes.
Anyway, it was a very great gesture by Macron. I got to give credit where credit is due. But Uncle Joe didn't do any of that stuff. He kind of got rushed off the stage, which is another reason for the rumor. And which is probably, I think they have to, somebody from the inside of, I think it was Dan Bongino said that he still knows people in
Oh,
the Secret Service, and said that they do bring a lot of changes of clothes, so you can put all that together however way you want.
Wowzer.
Yeah, wowzer. Anyway, let me see here. Crap. Our next clip is about 2 minutes long. So let's go to break a little bit early this time. And when we come back, we're going to have a little bit of a side-by-side of Reagan's speech from 1980 to Biden's speech of 2024 and see if you can see any comparisons. We'll see. We'll see. Any similarities, not comparisons. Anyway, so hang in there. We will be right back.
I'm Charmaine Davies, and every week my guilty pleasure is tuning in to the podcast Stay Off My Lawn. It's funny, it's informative, and the guys that present it are just fabulous. So make sure you tune in every week to Stay Off My Lawn and make it your guilty pleasure too.
Incomparable design makes it beautiful. State-of-the-art technology makes it brilliant. The Lexus NX. Experience the crossover in its most visionary form. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
All right, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn after halftime. With the everybody's off the field.
The marching band is now left, so we're good to go.
Yes, and nobody tripped, which is great. Anyway, the ceremony at Pont de Hoc, there's so many different wrong pronunciations out there. I just chose one. Biden gave a speech, and it seems that Uncle Joe's speechwriters are getting a little bit better at paraphrasing. Some people might call it plagiarizing, but paraphrasing. But it still sounds very similar to Reagan's speech from 40 years ago.
Pretty much the same thing.
Here's a side-by-side of how those two speeches went.
At last the hour had come. Dawn, 6th of June, 1944.
At dawn on the morning of the 6th of June, 1944,
225 American Rangers arrived by ship, jumped into the waves and stormed the beach.
225 Rangers jumped off the British landing craft and ran to the bottom of these cliffs.
Gunfire rained above them, but still they kept coming. Nazi grenades thrown from above exploded against the cliffs, but still they kept coming.
The Rangers looked up and saw the enemy soldiers at the edge of the cliffs shooting down at them with machine guns and throwing grenades. And the American Rangers began to climb.
They launched their ladders, their ropes, and grappling hooks, and they began to climb.
They shot rope ladders over the face of these cliffs and began to pull themselves up.
When the Nazis cut their ladders, the Rangers used their ropes. When the Nazis cut their ropes, the Rangers used their hands.
When one Ranger fell, another would take his place. When one rope was cut, a Ranger would grab another and begin his climb again.
And inch by inch, foot by foot, yard by yard, the Rangers literally clawed their way up this mighty precipice until at last they reached the top.
Soon, one by one, the Rangers pulled themselves over the top.
They breached Hitler's Atlantic Wall, and they turned in that one effort the tide of the war that began to save the world.
And in seizing the firm land at the top of these cliffs, they began to seize back the continent of Europe.
Yeah. He mumbled some of that. I had no idea what he said.
and tuck it back. What was in front of that? I don't know.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
I think him and Steve would have a really good conversation on it.
I think so.
Yeah, it is funny, Steve. Get over it.
Just go back to sleep. You've been drinking too much. But yeah, they're getting better at plagiarizing. I mean, you just change a word here and there, and nobody will notice. Nobody will notice.
That was 40 years ago.
Yeah, nobody's going to listen. But you listen to the way Reagan spoke and how articulate he was as compared to, Uncle Joe today. And it's like It sounded like he was talking through a mask. I mean, I saw the video. He wasn't, but even the audio quality was better.
It was all saying that they went and he was enthusiastic about what he was saying. And then, okay, thanks for reading that to us, I guess.
Very enthusiastic, yeah. And to cap things off, Uncle Joe, while he was in Normandy, was reminded of Uncle Bosie, who died in the hands of cannibals, and of course his son. Of course, he has to bring it all to being about him.
You know, I don't want to make this personal, but every time I show up at a military site where veterans are buried, it brings back memories of hearing my grandfather and my mother talk about the loss of their son and brother in the South Pacific. And I think about my son, Bo, after he was in Iraq.
Again, Bo didn't die in Iraq. He died of brain cancer a few years later. Uncle Bosie, of course, if you remember all that, that was from a month or two ago. He was talking about
something like that. There were stories about him and cannibals, which was interesting. And now it was during, but he actually died in a plane crash during the war, if I remember right.
Yes. And I was after that, I was right in the middle of writing a cookbook called Uncle Bosie's Cookbook, and different ways that you can make, out of people. Oh, anyway, ew. So anyway, there's the he didn't want to make it personal, but that didn't stop him. So.
Yeah, it's when someone says that, well, I don't want to be rude, but I'm going to be.
But you're ugly as a munch.
I don't want to make it personal, but I am going to make it all about me and, well, about others, and none of it's truthful. So I don't know if it's really about me and others or not.
Is truthful even a consideration anymore? I just don't think so.
Oh, wait, is that part of the equation?
In some... In some circles, I think it still is, but maybe not in his.
Now, getting closer to history now.
Yes.
What else do you have there?
If you're concerned about the problems in Israel and Gaza, know that our federal government is sending aid to Gaza, which I was not aware of how much was being sent, to be honest.
Making an effort to send.
They're giving it a shot. Everybody's got to give it a shot. Congressman Matt Gaetz breaks down the amount of money that we've sent over there and how it all breaks down. This is taxpayer dollars now. This is you and me that are, let's just see how well our money's being spent.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to alert the House and the country to the latest boondoggle in foreign policy executed by President Biden. And this time, it's the decision we've made to become the Port Authority of Gaza. This pier has been a debacle at a cost of $320 million. In 2 weeks, we have not even distributed 1,000 metric tons of food aid. And in 3 months, the entire pier has to be dismantled because of rising seas and impermissible weather conditions. So at most, we're going to be able to deliver about 7,000 metric tons of food at a cost of $320 million. Now, I don't know much about what a metric ton is, but I know what the price per pound is. This is $20,730 a pound for food. So if you are in preparations for your summer barbecue and you think your grocery bills are too high, know that you, the American taxpayer, are incurring debt to send food to Gaza at a cost of $20,730 a pound.
$20,700. I'm waiting for Kroger to put a sale on ribeye, because right now it's $15.99 a pound. I'm waiting for the $7.99 sale that normally happens around this time of year, and $20,000 a pound. Can you imagine?
Jiminy Christmas. And the Democrats don't look at it as it's the government's money.
No, it's our money.
It's government money because you took our money and you're spending it. Just like yesterday I was hearing, and this doesn't have anything to do with what's going on in Gaza, but the protesters and stuff, there was a gentleman that was going around asking them from the river to the sea, what river and what sea? Yeah. They didn't know.
No idea.
And then they were telling him, well, Israel just needs to get out of Gaza. They got out of Gaza in 2006.
Yeah, I was going to say almost 20 years ago. Yeah.
And they're going, oh, they did? They don't know what they're doing.
No, a lot of people will say, oh, Israel's always flinging rockets at them and everything. No, they don't. No, they don't.
No.
We know people on the ground over there. It does not happen.
Yeah,
it comes the other way.
If you attack them, you're going to get a response. That's how it works.
Yeah.
They do not go and throw stuff and, but they're bombing. That's because Hamas in that is using schools and hospitals as human shields.
Yeah.
Oh, they won't bomb there. Well, they're getting tired of being bombed, so they're having to take care of things. They've got massive tunnels underneath hospitals where they've got a huge command center.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing, though, is like, and I think that we are dealing with young people today that don't understand war. It never really was taught about World War II, about, even Dresden, even when I think about, civilian casualties. World War II was full of civilian casualties. Every war since the beginning of time has involved civilian casualties. And especially, like you said, since these Hamas leaders are underneath hospitals, precisely for the reason is that if they get bombed, they're going to say, well, they bombed the hospital. I can't believe they did this. They're heartless people.
They had howitzers out in the playgrounds of elementary schools. Yep. And you're telling me that the other side is bad?
Yeah, it's a propaganda machine is what it actually is.
It's just, and unfortunately, you got these kids that have these fancy little computers that are in their hands that they don't even use.
Yes,
among other words that I was not.
You almost mouthed something there, but you didn't. I'm so proud of you.
Now I sound like Steve.
Maybe that's how Steve got here.
Yeah, I know it sounded like you. Sorry.
He's only in his 50s. I mean, I don't think I don't know how he got such.
Use those things. Good Lord, you can look up anything. Really, it's not difficult.
The problem is when you look it up, Google is complicit with a lot of this left-wing agenda.
Yes.
So they push all the crap or the stuff that is not true to the top of the list. And when you have to dig down, go to page 3 next time you go to Google something like this and find out real information. And
that's why I like DuckDuckGo.
Yep, me too.
I've never had stuff that it's like, wow, I didn't even see that on the other search.
Yep,
if it has to do with political and you're looking it up, you have to go to like DuckDuckGo or another deal that's not Google.
Right. And they've actually done a very good job of staying very neutral politically.
And the rumors go, that's owned by Google now anyway. No, it's not. They never have been.
No.
It's just stuff to try and it's the other side trying to start rumors to stop them, and it ain't working.
Or to discredit them in some way. But,
yes.
But, and they don't sell your information. That's why we have our Duck email address, because they don't sell your information. They do not invade your privacy. They do not hold on to whatever you search for. I guess you could search for, how to dissolve a body in a 55-gallon drum. And the FBI won't knock on your door. So, I mean, just a little hint. But anyway, with the election a little less than 5 months away, the tactics, I got tax in my head.
The taxes are going to get worse.
They are going to get worse. You're absolutely right. The tactics from the left are going to get more expensive and more devious. It always happens. It happened in 2016, happened in 2020. Podcaster Matt Kim found some interesting facts about what's in the works. And here's how that went.
Can you buy an election? The Democratic super PAC, Future Forward, has just announced a record-breaking $250 million in TV and digital advertising for Joe Biden's re-election campaign. They'll be targeting the battleground states of Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, with more than $16 million in Atlanta. This is the largest expenditure on political advertising by an external group in U.S. political history. $250 million to be pumped online. Interesting enough, a follower sent me this job posting. Casting billboard, pro-Biden testimonials for ages 50 to 80. $500 for a pro-Biden video testimonial in Atlanta and Las Vegas. They are literally paying actors $500 each to be pro-Biden. Listen, as the year progresses and they start deploying this new influx of $250 million, you're going to see a lot of influencers all of a sudden become vocal pro-Biden. Paid actors, paid propaganda. Paid by the establishment to create a fake confirmation bias that he is actually more popular than he is. So if you see someone online all of a sudden become a pro-Biden supporter, chances are they take the money.
And with AI, you're going to have to, I don't know if you've seen this on YouTube. I think I've talked about this before. Sometimes we go to bed and we'll scroll through the shorts on YouTube. And because of everything we watch normally, it kind of caters everything to us and it's more interesting to us. But there's a Kelly Clarkson video that's out there. There's Joe Rogan where they'll put AI voices behind it and it's not them, and you can see that their mouths don't exactly match up. But you have to be careful about that because it's like I had somebody ask me, it was like, did you see that video about Kelly Clarkson, how she lost all that weight and they're selling this product? It's like, that's not her. And no. A lot of people are going to get duped. So you just got to be careful.
The dad bod veteran, if anybody watches him.
Oh gosh, he's great.
He is just a scream.
Yeah,
he has stuff on, and they tried to use only his voice was nowhere close to what he sounds like. And yet they were doing the same thing, trying to be like, come on down here and we've got this magic elixir that'll, no, it doesn't work.
So if they'll do it to sell fake diet pills, they'll do it to win an election, just so you know.
Yeah.
And so the quote that has been attributed to Benjamin Franklin and Edgar Allan Poe, the one that goes, believe none of what you hear and believe only half of what you see, is going to be extremely relevant in 2024. So just be on the lookout. So hang in there. We do have a little bit more. We've got one more segment, and we're going to have to blow through some of this pretty quickly because I ran out of time. I started talking too much. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more of the stay off my lawn, but the thing. Anyway, they'll be right back.
The best days begin with an early start and a good cup of coffee. The Crockett Coffee community is made up of doers and leaders, self-reliant people with a pioneering spirit who are ready to fuel up and do what needs to be done. As a new coffee company, they scoured the world for the finest ethically sourced beans, then linked up with a passionate family of coffee roasters from the heart of Crockett country. Together, they developed 3 simple, iconic blends: medium roast, dark roast, and decaf. Oh, and there's a light roast coming soon. All blends are available in K-Cups, ground, and my favorite, whole bean. So head over to crockettcoffee.com and support a company that loves America like you do and makes the best coffee you've ever had, all delivered straight to your front door. That's crockettcoffee.com. All right, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 4. We are almost done. We're blowing through.
Almost breakfast time for me.
I have to go bring lunch to my wife, so
we're in different time zones. Can you tell?
Yeah. You'd think we're sitting right across the desk from each other, but thankfully But one day I was going to talk to you about this off the air, but now that we're on the air, we might as well do it now. But
let's just tell our friends at the same time.
We ought to do a YouTube or a video of the whole show nonstop for an hour. We ought to just go ahead and do that, and we can do it live. People can come in and ask questions or give us comments and tell us to shut our face and shut or whatever. It could be fun. We could do that eventually. I don't know. Maybe when we ought to get Charmaine back on and we ought to do it with her because she's incredible.
She's an absolute hoot.
Yeah, she is.
And people, if you think we go through and clip and change stuff, and we're too lazy to do that.
You'll find out otherwise when you see the whole video. So we'll just cut out all the breaks and we'll just kind of go for an hour and have a good time.
There you go.
I think so. As long as I don't have to pee, I'm getting up there a little bit.
Well, we do have those breaks on occasion. We're old and bladders just don't hold up like they used to.
And the old prostate is hanging in there a little bit.
Well, it's hanging somewhere. Anyway,
the underwear holds it in place. The Depends hold it in place.
We're never going to get through all this.
No,
Get busy.
we're not. Well,
Come on, boy.
After the Trump trial and conviction on 34 felony counts, the next logical step is the appeal to get the whole thing thrown out, hopefully.
It's just about to be considered a mistrial. There's so much impropriety that they just can't overlook all the improprieties.
Yeah, and there's a lot to go through there.
Happens.
Yeah, hopefully they'll. But with that judge, it's just not gonna. He's not gonna let that happen. Now the lefties may hate the country and its citizens, but their hatred has not blurred their semi-genius plans for Trump, or for you and I, for that matter. Here's Tulsi Gabbard explaining what I'm talking about.
No. We're going to
do what?
We didn't do Paula Collins first.
Oh, I didn't. Well, let's do this.
No.
Let's do this first. I'm sorry. I missed it, man.
What is wrong with you when I have to keep you on track? That is a sad day.
Let's do Tulsi Gabbard first. Let's do that first. There you go.
Some Democrats in Congress are actually pushing legislation that would strip President Trump of his Secret Service protection, putting his life at risk. They're calling their legislation the Disgrace Act. If you ask them, they will claim that a supposedly quote-unquote disgrace convicted felon who may be in prison shouldn't have the same protections that the Secret Service provides every other former president. It's very clear what they're doing. This is just the next step in what has been a very calculated plan. First, they convict President Trump on these bogus charges to brand him as a quote-unquote felon. Now they've moved on to the next step, making it clear that this specific former president's life isn't even worth protecting. They are so hell-bent on removing the possibility that the American people may choose to elect President Trump. Not only are they willing to throw him in prison, now they want to take away his security and jeopardize his life, making it even more clear that we, the people, must hold them accountable by voting them out of power on November 5th.
I do think that there has been some conversation between Secret Service and the New York jail system or the prison system about the transfer. So I just don't know. It's
they can't. They're going. Yeah, we'll drag him into all these courts, and then nobody will vote for him. And all they've done is go, well, crap, that's not working. His popularity. I mean, from when they convicted in the span of, what was it, less than 5 days or something, was $200 million raised that they didn't have to go ask for. People just gave because that's not what we do in America. And that's a lot of folks saying, and it wasn't huge donations.
No.
It was primarily the little guy like us, maybe $50 if you could squeeze it right now. That's a lot of money because groceries and...
I've seen interviews where a lot of former Democrats, or a lot of Democrats are like going, you know what, this raised too many red flags, and I'm going to contribute to Trump, and because I don't like what I'm seeing. So I mean,
they become independents. Maybe they didn't join. Some have gone over to the Republican Party, but the Democratic Party is losing people in droves.
Absolutely, yep. They can't bucket the water out of that sinking ship fast enough.
No, it's got so many holes in it. It looks like something from a cartoon with Swiss cheese from the deal that's running around.
The Titanic had a better chance. Yeah. We hear all the time that MAGA people are a threat to democracy, which and get compared to Nazis, and which is ignorant and shallow on so many different levels. If you want to hear what real fascism and threats to our republic looks like, this is a clip for a Zoom call with her team. This is Paula Collins, a Democrat from New York, running against Congressman Elise Stefanik, which she's growing in popularity. She's been in the news quite a bit lately. But here's what she had to say, that if Democrats win the election, this is the plan.
Moving through this, even if we were to have a resounding blue wave come through, as many of us would like, putting it all back together again after we've gone through this MAGA nightmare, and re-educating, basically, which that sounds like a rather a re-education camp. I don't think we really want to call it that. I'm sure we can find another way to phrase it. Anybody else care to talk about this?
I think she killed her campaign with that one. I don't think.
Re-education camps? Where have I heard that from? It seems like there was a little small mustache man that did a lot of camp stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Kumbaya either.
No, it wasn't. Wasn't he? Was he in the WWII or was that what? Is that something?
I don't know, but
no.
there was an accent. I'm not sure where he was from, but he had a little tiny small mustache right under his nose.
A lot of his friends ended up in Argentina, the way I understand it. But yeah.
They became gauchos, yeah. Giddy up, little doggy.
There is still a bunch of communities down there in the Patagonia area that are blonde-haired, blue-eyed people, and it's very interesting. Anyway, they got away.
Re-education camps. Give me a break. Some of these people just, you don't believe the way we do. So then I'm just going to move on and we have someone else who said something.
But would we even consider something like that? The people on the right? I mean, we're not going to try to take all these lefty Democrat people and say, we need to teach you how to think more like us, or just think differently. I mean, no, we believe in the freedom.
The propaganda machine wouldn't put it out there anyway.
That's true too. Yeah. But I mean, we still believe in freedom. We still believe, if you want to believe in the climate change agenda and the whole, all these transgender, you think men should be in women's restrooms, God bless you. Believe whatever you want to believe. This is America. But I mean, we don't
have to go along with it.
They don't see it the same way. We have to be stopped. We have to be squelched. And it's that was a scary thing. And if that gets out there, if the mainstream media actually grows a pair and actually puts out something like that, hopefully at least Stefanik's team we'll put that out in a campaign commercial. I think that'll be the end of it. Especially with all the Jewish people in New York, they're not gonna see that as being any good.
Let's put you to re-education camps. Yes, we're sending you to work camps. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
That's a ticket. I heard it.
I heard it too. Chelsea Handler, which I've never found classy or funny or anything like that. We were talking about her off the air, and both of us were like, bleh. Anyway, she was being interviewed by Jimmy Fallon. I guess he has a podcast, so he interviews people. And she has proved herself to be one of those white women that need to tell black people how to think, among other things. Ugh.
Well, you need a virtue signal.
Well, that's true. And I guess she's virtuous because she went way overboard.
You heard about my ex-boyfriend, right? 50 Cent and his support of Donald Trump.
Yeah, what's going on between you? I saw your tweets and I go, wait, what's happening? Because you said he was your favorite ex-boyfriend, and then what does he do? He's supporting Trump?
He says he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes, which, by the way, isn't a plan of Joe Biden's. That's a lie. So he doesn't want to pay 62% of taxes because he doesn't want to go from being 50 cent to 20 cent. And I had to remind him that he was a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump, and that he shouldn't be influencing an entire swath of people who may listen to him because he's worried about his own personal pocketbook. So I haven't heard back from him yet, but I am willing to, seal the deal in more ways than one if he changes his mind and publicly denounces Donald Trump. I might be willing to go for another spin, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, gosh. Exactly. And she had to remind him that he's a black person. I mean, what the heck? Do you think he forgot? Do you think that this
Who gives you the right to tell somebody how they are supposed to vote? You are this color because that's what has happened through the last
at least 50 years.
Well, between Obama and Biden.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you have all this dividing of everything. Everybody's different. We're Americans.
Yep.
Shut up and get over it.
Yep.
That's what we are. We are all Americans,
Yep.
not black Americans. I'm not a red American. I'm not a Orient. It's just stop.
Yep.
Just stop. We're all Americans. Get on with it.
And I think that's exactly the point. What happened to being reasonable? What happened to be, because back when you and I were younger, it's like I've had political opinions since I was 18, 19 years old. So, I mean, but I've been able to talk to people who I didn't agree with. I mean, it used to be where it's like, well, we just had different ways. We all agreed on that we had problems or what specific problems, like it was crime or whatever. We just had different ways of dealing with it. Normally, the lefty people would say we need to throw more money, more programs, more government intervention, and the Republicans normally would say, I don't think throwing money at it has historically worked. Maybe we should go at it from a different angle. So I mean, but we were reasonable. That reasonableness is out the window now. If you're black, you better vote for so and so. If you're white, you're probably going to vote for so-and-so. That doesn't work anymore. Not the people that I know.
It's really turning over, not only in America, but all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, they just had a big, I don't know, would you call it a Trump rally, something over in Britain where there was thousands upon thousands of people in this square packed, and they were all chanting for Trump. They need him to come back to help save the world. Yeah. I mean, it's like, you've got to be kidding me. People have gone, we're not dealing with that over here anymore either. So.
No. And didn't we talk about the UN Council? Wasn't there a bunch of seats that got replaced by conservatives too?
Not UN. It was the European Union.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the EU. Yeah, that's right.
The EU, the European Union had and they're going, holy crap. They had like 3 seats open or something, and all conservatives were voted in.
Yep. And you see it in Italy, you see it in Hungary, you see it in France now. That France just had an election where things got swung in a different direction. Macron is actually dissolving some of the parliament, and it's really incredible to watch Europe kind of have this changeover. So maybe there is hope. I mean, I don't know why we're so far behind all this. We're just stuck in that agenda so deeply for some reason, but I don't know.
I have got such a sour taste in my mouth.
We need a palate cleanser. Yes, we do. Yeah, something. It's a little bit of apple cider vinegar here, but since it is baseball season, I found a Paul Harvey rest of the story about a baseball superhero, and here's how that went.
Now, the rest of the story. It was just a spring exhibition baseball game in Florida's Payne Park, an exhibition game between the Boston Red Sox and the Milwaukee Braves. They used to say that Payne Park was rightly named, at least from a batter's perspective, because it was a big ballpark. A most difficult one in which to hit a home run. Anyway, the Sox and the Braves were going at it that day. Pitching for Boston was a fellow named Ike DeLock, right-hander. Nothing spectacular, pitched a lot of fastballs. But let's pretend we're watching a movie of this game, and let's run it fast forward so that we can freeze on one frame. It shows Ike on the mound. And the Braves rookie, the rookie second baseman, at the plate. The second baseman with the bat poised above his shoulder is barely 20. He has been called promising, but then a lot of rookies get called promising. But anyway, on this perfectly ordinary day, in the middle of this perfectly ordinary preseason game, the young second baseman is facing DeLock, and Ike DeLock winds up. And the pitch is a screaming fastball, Ike's specialty. Had it been a curveball or a slider, any other pitch, baseball history might now read differently, but it was a fast ball. And the young second baseman uncoiled with a crusher. I don't know if you know, but that's the thing about a fastball. Combine the speed of the ball with the speed of the swinging bat, and they connect solidly. Then that ball is gone. The Braves manager, Charlie Grimm, couldn't get over it. Almost 400 feet to that long left field fence, and the rookie second baseman had sent the ball over the fence and into the trailer park beyond. It was only a preseason game, insignificant, almost every way insignificant, except this is the rest of the story. The Braves manager, Charlie Grimm, had been counting on a recent trade acquisition of his team, a big hitting outfielder named Bobby Thompson. But then right before the opening game of the season, Thompson broke his ankle. Well, that left a gaping hole in left field. there were at least 2 or 3 other players who might have filled that position. But Manager Grimm, recalling that one stunning, super long, preseason home run by that young second baseman, chose that young man. And the rookie would always be certain that one home run was the reason he stayed with the Braves. And eventually, he was to hit more home runs than anyone in Major League history. I said eventually, he was to hit more home runs than any other, ever. And now you'll remember the day it all began, in March of 1954, for a rookie who was then faltering as a second baseman, a young man named Hank Aaron. Hank Aaron. Now you know the rest of the story.
Little background on Hammer and Hank. That's fantastic.
There you
story.
go. Yeah, that's kind of from your era. He played with Atlanta forever.
Yeah. And then in 1974, he broke Babe Ruth's record, and did great. Well, anyway, we hope you were somewhat informed and had fun like we did. Don't forget, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon smart speakers, sometimes YouTube, and they're not mad at us again. And we are on Rumble now every week, and we're actually getting a lot of views on Rumble, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, or you can just go to our website at stayoffmylawn.us for all our past and present episodes.
Had a good time. We'll see you next week, folks.
Thanks for listening, people. Toodles. Well, we had fun and hope you did too. The opinions heard here today are not those of anyone other than Mike and Richard. If it made you laugh or go, or even, then we've done our job. Sort of. Mostly anyway. And if we made you think about things in a common sense manner, we welcome you to the club. And if it didn't, then just stay off my lawn. See you next time.